Every man is tested not when he's poor, but when he's offered everything he ever wanted at the cost of what he truly believes. At a time when most men would have said yes without blinking, Napoleon Hill said no, and that decision defined the rest of his life. The mahogany door of the Manhattan office clicked shut behind Napoleon Hill with a finality that echoed through the marble corridor. It was 1929, and he had just walked away from more money than most men would see in 10 lifetimes. 2 hours earlier, Hill had entered that same office with cautious optimism. After years of research, interviews with titans of industry, and developing his philosophy of success, he was finally gaining recognition. But recognition didn't pay bills, and the Hill family had known their share of lean times. The man behind the massive desk had been all smiles and promises. Charles Morton, not his real name, but that's what we'll call him, was a Wall Street power broker who'd built an empire on persuasion and manipulation. Mr. Hill, Morton had begun, leaning back in his leather chair. "I've read your work. Your understanding of human psychology, your ability to motivate and influence, it's remarkable." "Thank you," Hill had replied, sensing something beneath the compliment. "I want to hire you. $200,000 a year to start." The number hung in the air like smoke. In 1929, that sum was astronomical, equivalent to several million today. Hill's mind raced. His wife, Florence, worried constantly about money. His children deserved better schools, better opportunities. This could solve everything. To do what, exactly? Hill asked, though part of him already knew. Morton's smile widened. "To use your gift for my companies. You understand what drives people, what makes them act. I need someone who can shape public opinion. Make them want what we're selling, whether they need it or not. Make them trust us even when they shouldn't." There it was. The devil's bargain, wrapped in silk and delivered with a handshake. That night, Hill couldn't sleep. He paced his modest apartment, the offer churning in his mind. Florence found him at 3 in the morning, staring out the window at the city lights. "You're going to take it, aren't you?" she asked quietly. "It would change everything for us." Hill turned to his wife, seeing both hope and resignation in her eyes. "Would it? Or would it change me?" "Napoleon, be practical. Think of what we could do with that money." "I am thinking," he replied. "I'm thinking of every principle I've ever taught. Definiteness of purpose. The importance of rendering useful service. The mastermind principle built on harmony, not manipulation." He paused. "How can I write about success while becoming the very thing I warn against?" Florence was quiet for a long moment. Then she took his hand. "You know what Andrew Carnegie told you when you started this journey? He said you'd be tested. Maybe this is that test." Hill remembered that day 20 years ago when Carnegie had challenged him to codify the principles of success. The steel magnate had warned him, the hardest part won't be finding the principles. It will be living them when it costs you something. The next morning, Hill met with his closest friend, a minister named Dr. Frank Crane. 200,000, Crane whistled low. "That's kingdom-building money, Napoleon." "Or soul-selling money," Hill countered. "You really think it's that black and white?" Hill looked at his friend steadily. "Tell me, Frank, if I take this job, if I use everything I've learned to manipulate instead of educate, to deceive instead of inspire, what does that make me?" "Rich," Crane said simply. Then, after a pause, "and miserable." The meeting with Morton was scheduled for 2 p.m. Hill arrived early, his decision made but his humanity still wrestling with it. Morton greeted him warmly, already assuming the deal was done. "I've had the contracts drawn up," Morton said, pushing papers across the desk. "We can start immediately. I have a campaign that needs your particular talents." Hill didn't touch the papers. "Mr. Morton, I'm grateful for your offer. It's more money than I ever imagined earning. But I can't accept." Morton's smile froze. "I'm sorry. My life's work is teaching people how to think, not what to think. It's helping them discover their own power, not wielding power over them." Hill stood. "What you're asking me to do would make me wealthy, yes. But it would make everything I've written a lie." "You're a fool," Morton said coldly. "Do you know how many men would kill for this opportunity?" "Then offer it to them," Hill replied. "I'd rather live poor with integrity than rich with regret." As Hill reached the door, Morton called out, "You'll regret this, Hill. When you're struggling to make ends meet, when your family suffers because of your precious principles, you'll wish you'd been smarter." Hill turned back one last time. "Mr. Morton, you're right about one thing. I may struggle financially, but I'll never struggle to look my children in the eye. I'll never struggle to sleep at night. And I'll never struggle to remember who I am." The walk home was long, but Hill felt lighter with each step. He had chosen, and in choosing, he had defined himself not by what he was willing to gain, but by what he refused to lose. Florence was waiting when he arrived. She took one look at his face and knew. "You said no." "I said no." She was quiet for a moment, then smiled. "Good. I married Napoleon Hill, not Charles Morton's puppet." The years that followed weren't easy. There were times when Hill wondered if he'd made the right choice. But he kept writing, kept teaching, kept believing that success meant more than money. Then came 1937. Think and Grow Rich was published. The book that might never have existed if Hill had taken Morton's offer became one of the best-selling books of all time. It influenced millions not because Hill had manipulated them, but because he had told them the truth, that real success comes from serving others, not exploiting them. Years later, a young journalist asked Hill if he ever regretted turning down Morton's fortune. Hill smiled. "Son, I've been rich and I've been poor, but I've never been empty. When you sell your purpose for a price, no amount of money can fill that void. The richest man is not the one with the most, but the one who needs the least to stay true to his purpose." That decision in Morton's office didn't just save Hill's integrity, it saved his legacy. Because he chose principle over profit, his words carry weight decades after his death. He became proof that true wealth isn't measured in dollars, but in the lives you touch and the person you become. The richest man is not the one with the most, but the one who needs the least to stay true to his purpose.